exciting stuff. I'm
Yeah.
really excited to have you here. So for everybody that's watching, I'm April Small. I am the loving creative guide and owner of Odonata Artistic Services and Creating Heart, which is my new life coaching with a creative twist business that I'm launching and getting going and hopefully helping people step into the life that they actually want, whether it's creative or not. But we all know that we can find a lot of transformation and healing through the creative process, right? And the amazing Ella Rose here is going to share her amazing experience of how transformation came through for her through tap dance, which is wild because I've never, heard or had a story like that before. So I'm really excited for you to share.
Awesome. So,
So
ready to
yeah,
go?
feel free
Okay,
to
awesome.
just dive right in. Tell me all about it. How did this happen? When did it happen and why?
Well, first of all, hey, and thank you so much for having me. And I love your channel. All your stuff that you do is super cool. I'm hoping to take a class soon. And I think if I remember, it's probably been like 20 years since I last spoke with you. So that's crazy. So hi. Um,
Hi.
yeah, so just like a little quick background, music has always been a huge part of my life, as well as songwriting and art. The only real dancing I did was in musical theater, so I'd done some choreography, but I always wanted to do tap. I remember watching Sammy Davis and Shirley Temple and this woman Elizabeth Powell, who's like one of my heroes on AMC, and just falling in love with it. Just mesmerized by how they were just able to do that. It just seemed like they were transcending reality.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So never had the opportunity growing up, and I was pretty self-conscious about my body and whether or not I had the body of a dancer, which means nothing really. And then just a lot of like trauma and bullying and just like a lot of self-esteem issues that constantly plagued me. But I always found solace in music, particularly songwriting. A lot of you will remember that. But like it was kind of like in one way it helped in the sense that it gave me some form of expression, some form of being able to release my emotions, but I never did get to a point where music and art became like this transformative healing process for me. So while it definitely kept me going and gave me a lot of hope and inspiration for the future, I was always kind of in this little middle grounds. I'm trans and bi, as a lot of you know, so a lot of that too is internalized homophobia, which a lot of queer people go through. But I think everyone has experienced to some extent. For a lot of people, it's body image. For it could be just just their appearance. It could be the level of success that they've had in life, comparing themselves to other people, and we kind of beat ourselves down. We repeat these messages we've heard from when we were kids, from maybe even family members who were constructive criticism, as they say. And we just repeat these things and we believe them about ourselves. And, we develop this bitterness and we assume that everyone must feel that way about us. And, oh, everyone must hate me. And then, well, I hate myself then. And then you just become bitter, like, well, why do these people hate me? This world is cruel and evil. And I just kind of would sit and sulk in this sorrow and just kind of go nowhere. And it just led to all this self-destructive behavior, whether it was alcoholism or eating disorders. I lost a lot of weight when I was in freshman year. And then from that point on, my body and my eating habits just kind of fluctuated everywhere from starving myself and exercising for hours a day to binging without, any restraints. And it took a long time to find a healthy balance. And right now, I just want to pause and say, because this is Mental Health Awareness Month. If anyone is feeling like they may want to harm or hurt themselves, whether it's physically or whether it's just tormenting yourself with these thoughts, I just want to encourage you to get help. I go to therapy, I take medications. So, and all this self-care stuff, it is wonderful. And for a lot of us, it's kind of a catalyst to to seek out mental health for those who might need treatment. So I just want to encourage everyone to reach out. There are so many, crisis hotlines that you can get on with, or, hit me up, hit up April. There's so many people that would be willing to listen to you. And sometimes
Well,
that's
we
just
would
what we
love.
need. But so yeah, I just want to say that there's a really great combination of our art and our creative process and coping mechanisms and things like that. But then there's also, medical help that we can get that is miraculous, and just, the body is an amazing thing, and God has made these brilliant people who are gifted in ways that I can't even comprehend. So I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. But
Yeah.
getting back to my story, I had kids sort of youngish, and I loved my kids, and that was kind of like my life for a long time. And that was great because I had me and I had my kids, but I didn't really have a social life. I didn't really intrinsically love myself. I kind of just identified my life with the relationship I had with my kids, which is a good thing. But at the same time, we need to properly love and affirm and care for ourselves so that we can properly love our kids and those around us. So that's very important. Um, so I did quit drinking for a number of years, and then I relapsed. So I'm kind of jumping forward ahead because I don't want to be here forever. In 2019, I woke up one morning and desperate and sick, and I decided that I needed to quit drinking. So that was the day, November 30th, 2019. I've been sober ever since, praise God. Um, and coming out of that, I kind of replaced alcohol with exercise, and just every day getting on the bike and walking. And this isn't really a body image thing. It's more of just getting fresh air and breathing and feeling confident about yourself and accomplishing new things and setting new limits and breaking them. Just slowly started to build my confidence to the point where, I didn't really fully despise myself so much. And, maybe I'm not a horrible person. And that kind of led to me seeking out, it's kind of like expressing myself more, and not repressing this artsy, like, queer side of me that I had, not feeling that I needed to push this false sense of masculinity where I could just kind of be silly and be cute and do my own thing and sing Broadway and Disney movies and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. And then that kind of eventually led to, I really do want to try tap dancing. So I bought my first pair of shoes on Amazon. And then this was, like, I want to say March 2020. So then the world closed and all the dance studios closed. So I went on YouTube and there's like a million free tap tutorials. United Taps is the best in my opinion. But like, yeah, you can learn all the steps, you can learn combos, you can learn simple beginner combos to your favorite songs and just impress your friends. And I started out without even really being able to hold myself up. But that's a big part of it too, is being able to balance. And I think in life, we have to be able to balance our
That
work,
balance.
our kids, our family, our friends, our emotions, our lives, and that's hard. That's hard to regulate. And
Mhm.
one of the other things I kind of wanted to talk about is this. I kind of came up with this. I thought I came up with it on my own, and then I found so many other people that were talking about it. So it's kind of cool the way that works. The universe just puts these things where, like, rhythm dictates so much. It dictates, like, time is something that we measure, but it's already set in stone. It's something that we have observed, and we can see that with the beating of each second, that's a steady rhythm. And
Yep.
when you're listening to music, if there's a steady beat, you can keep along with it. And that this is important in tap dance. And the cool thing is that, like, if you have a steady rhythm, kind of like, you can keep that going, and then there's room for, like, improv in between those beats. So even if, life gets crazy, you get a little off kilter, there's distractions, there's things that kind of pull you away, throw your weight off, maybe just kind of blurt your vision for a few minutes, like, that's okay. You can step back, but being able to maintain that steady rhythm is so important. And you can look at it in, like, a symbolic sense of the symbolic of me getting my life to get together, getting all my affairs in order, taking care of myself, doing things that are healthy and instead of doing things that are self-destructive. Or if you are a believer in the divine, you can see it as literally something just transformed where I started to learn these tap steps and I started to get better and faster and doing it all alone by myself in my house with the help of YouTube, but really just I'm doing it and I'm like impressing myself, I'm amazing myself with what I'm
Yeah.
capable of. And it's all just because of practice and commitment and just not giving up and keeping my eyes on the prize. And that kind of started to just break down these walls that I'd built up for so long. And I just feel like it got to a point where things had just started to erode. And this like idea that I built up that, I was despicable and I was an abomination and that my intrinsic authentic self was like my alcohol. It was something I needed to suppress, that I needed to recover from, which is such an unhealthy mindset to have, especially if you're queer. And it just became this like thing where it just became harder and harder to believe that and to see it as viable when I just started to really truly love myself. And then I was just doing this like really simple shuffle step pattern one day, and it just cracked wide open. And suddenly I said, you know what? I am beautiful. I am lovable. I am worthy of love. And I have people that genuinely care about me. And I'd like to say that, I remembered that all the time going forward, but there are definitely, and there's still times where I briefly forget that. And that's why I think it's so important that we do our affirmations. It's so important that we take time to care for ourselves. And
Yep.
community is like, community is so important. And finding out that I wasn't alone was just so crucial to me getting to this point. But at the same time, that's fallible and that's never guaranteed because there are going to be times when you are by yourself and you don't have anyone to talk to. And I'm not, like, there are going to be points in your life where you need to be able to draw strength from yourself and you need
Yep.
to be able to have that. And the stronger that becomes, the easier, not easier, but just the more natural it becomes to when you have these winds and these waves that throw us off to, okay, let me pull back for a minute. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to like pull back. I'm not going to fall on the floor and just crawl into a fetal position and give up. Let me lean in to what I know about myself, what I've learned about the world and all these distractions and all these lies that I've been fed. I don't have to listen to them. And one
Yeah,
of the
I
like the
know
big
for me, like the creative habit has been what grounds me when I do those dips, when I get in my low. Like, right?
yeah,
Do you feel like throwing yourself back into tap when you're feeling a little low kind of like boosts you and gets you back to at
yeah,
least a
100
little bit balanced?
100%. And it's tap, it's songwriting, it's whatever I do. And there are times where like when I had my car accident in December and my car was totaled and I couldn't go to work and I couldn't go anywhere. I felt so incapable. I didn't tap and I didn't do my music and I didn't feel like I deserved to because, I had lost everything. So I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I had the right to celebrate or to sing and dance. I felt like I needed to mourn, but it was in that time that I needed to embrace those things the most to get me through, to fuel the desire that I had to overcome these things. Like for songwriting, it's validating your feelings because you're putting out on paper exactly what you're feeling, whether you're telling it in a story or you're putting symbolic verses out there. You're taking what you're feeling, you're expressing it, you're validating yourself, and then you have something to look at. You can look at this creative piece you've made,
Mhm.
especially like drawing does not come naturally to me. So if I want to draw a good portrait, I had to sit there and I had to erase and I had to redo the lines and I had to go and do the work. And all that work and all that effort and all like the fades from the scribbles and the erasers, like that's part of what makes the picture what it is.
Yeah. and then you feel like accomplished though, like, and then
Hmm.
you're like, look how magnificent I am, like I created this. And it's also a reminder, like, think about life. You create your life just like you created that drawing. And what you're putting in or putting down to paper, it contributes to what your creation is going to be. So if you're putting in the time and healthy, habits and things like that, you're going to create a good life for yourself. Does your life dip down? Yes, I had all kinds of problems. I have no car. My brake line went because someone pulled out in front of me, and like I almost got in an accident and everything. Like, but I laughed. I'm like, I got no car. So guess what? I get to stay home. I get to create more art, and I don't have excuses. I don't have to run around and do errands because I can't. So I'm like, awesome. And I stayed up late, and I made a whole new painting between last night and this morning. And I'm like, see, I'm creating the life I want, and I'm embracing the problems and using them to springboard me back up into my high vibe by just leaning into the opportunity that the bad thing gave me. Because there is opportunity everywhere. Things fall apart so other things that are better
Hmm.
can come into our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Do you feel like tap dancing had a lot to do with like kind of springboarding you up and like
yeah,
vibrationally and into a
literally.
more
And
authentic life? Yeah.
yeah, I definitely say that. Like, on one hand, I just like at 35, I had taken on this brand new habit, and I was like kind of pretty okay at it all. Like, it took a long time, but I'm like, wow, I can like legit do a whole lot more than I thought I could. And just the fact that like I've gotten to the point now where I can tap and sing at the same time, and I'm like putting together routines with vocals. Like, I literally used to I daydreamed about doing this, and I'm doing it in real life. Like, I have like shows lined up, like I have opportunities
Oh,
to
that's
like
amazing.
entertain and perform. Like, I used to dream about putting on a, this is like gonna sound cringy as hell, but whatever. I didn't have the childhood that I wanted, so whatever.
That's
I
okay.
dreamed about getting Disney princess dresses and singing karaoke, and I freaking did it. And it's all over my Instagram and whatever. And it's
I
just like,
love it. I can't
yeah,
wait to go look at the videos because I bet that they're pure magic. Because when we're in
yeah,
our creative flow, it is magic. Like it gives me goosebumps when I'm painting and singing and like doing my thing. Like how amazing do you feel? And like I just can't wait to see the videos because I'm sure you can probably feel the amazing positive vibration right in your videos. I just love all art forms. I think it's amazing like what you're doing, and I think it's awesome that you're sharing this because I think people need to hear like, hey, you can have these dreams and you can actually do them, and no matter how silly or how weird other people might think it is, like lean in, do it, be you, be authentic, and you're gonna find people are like, hey, that's actually pretty cool. Like you'll find your people that are on your level and are
oh, they're
into
out
what
there.
you're into, you know? Because
Totally.
there's people for all of us, right? Even though we
Uh-huh.
have to, like, you know, get ourselves out there and get over the leap of, like, taking that chance, when we do, we
Yeah,
find our
another.
people.
And then like another person who was huge, I'm gonna give her a shout out right now, is Lady Nikki, Nicole Fuller. She is like the premier Lady Gaga impersonator in New England. She's amazing. She not only looks just like Lady Gaga, but she does incredible art. Like, her makeup is just ridiculous. Her costumes, her wigs, she like has a million costume changes. She performs at, like, she started doing her thing, and then during the pandemic, because she couldn't do shows, she started doing all like live performances from her basement or living room or whatever, and they were really cool. And
That's
now
amazing.
and now she performs almost every week at the MGM Grand in Springfield. And
Oh, I
yeah, and
love
she like headlines, and she's singing with bands, and like, and she did that. And this is awesome, and I always give her credit for this. I hope she watches this because like I love it. I was like this, I think it was like either right before or right after I came out, but I really wasn't like, super like out yet. And she posted one of her covers and I just commented like, that's so cool. I want to do that. And she replied, so do it. That's what I did. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So she's
I
awesome
love
and
it.
you're awesome. I love reading your posts and
Oh,
like the things that you say are like so in line with what I've been experiencing and just what I've just noticed about life and what I've been observing because I'm finally taking the time to notice all the small things.
yeah. I mean, and it's in the small things that we find our peace and our grounding. And the more grateful we are for every little bit and every little thing, and we take the time to acknowledge it, we're changing our mindset. We're reframing our thoughts, and we're in a more growth oriented mindset instead of a stagnant, dense energy where we're like, ah, whammy, like, oh, life
Yeah.
is terrible. But like, hey, I have this warm blanket. I have this delicious sandwich. Like,
Hmm.
I can sing a tune. I can't, maybe you don't have a radio, but you can still sing and you can still tap your feet, right? Like, let's
Absolutely.
focus on the little that we have and find joy in it. And then more joy ends up coming our way. We attract it. I'm very into manifestation and attraction. And I believe that my life started to get better when I got, got better, when I started to lean into self love and the creative habit and sharing my joy with others. And then I started to find my people, and like amazing people like you found their way to me, and I found my way to them, and we connect, and then we share and we ripple it, and then we find more people that are, someone's going to watch this and be like, hey, I really wanted to try this, like maybe I'll give it a try, and it could be because of what you said today. So like, we have to do this, like what we're doing, the connection, the sharing, right?
That's awesome. So
I love
cool.
it.
Great.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Um, yeah, I just one more like quick thought,
Of
because
course.
I have a job that I don't want to say it's dead ends, but at the moment there isn't a whole lot of mobility, and a lot of my time, like I tend to be really bitter about the fact that like, oh, why am I still working, stocking shelves? Like I have all these passions and I have talents and I have desires to do more and I have this education that I worked for. Why am I stuck in this job? Basically Squidward, you know? But like when you explore art or hobbies or might be exercise or whatever it might be for you, you can work your job, and then when you have that balance you can do the things that you love, so that your job, that might be necessary at the moment, but my job is, it's part of my journey but it's not the destination. So I feel at peace with that, and I do have my hard days, but at the same time you can have both. You can
Yeah.
have your job that might be mundane, that might not feel super rewarding or super meaningful, but you can have like connections with your coworkers that are super meaningful while you're there. And then when
Yep.
you go home, you can do you and you can do so beautifully.
Yeah. And like
And
it is a balancing act, and we can't always have it all. Yes, I got super lucky and I started my business when I had a cheap place and no family, like I didn't have a kid, and I was like, I'm leaving my career behind, which was crazy at the time because I was making really good money. I was running the medical division of a staffing company. Like
oh
why
my
would I
God.
leave a wicked good job? Um, because I hated it and I was miserable every day. I was on call 24 hours a day. I was stressed out and I was drinking too much because I was always stressed out and angry. And like I was snapping at people. I'm like, this isn't even me. I'm like nice, and why am I so cranky? And then like I found my window. I went to a paint class because a coworker brought me. So like coworkers are amazing. They end up turning into amazing friends. And then I seen the opportunity and we joked. I was like, oh, I'm going to leave the job and I'm going to start my own business. And 3 months later, I really did. I just left and I started, and it's going to be 9 years in July. But like as an artist, you struggle. It's definitely possible though. You just have to look for different avenues. Like for me, I can't have one stream of income. I can't just teach classes. I have to also do coaching. I have to also have my own artwork and sell, prints or whatever. And I have to do custom orders. Like you have to just diverse your income so that you can like the balancing act. When one isn't doing well, you lean into the other. You know what I mean? And it's possible, like maybe you have to work a job for a while and save your money and work up your audience until you're able to dive into crafting or putting on dance shows and cool stuff like that. It's like it is possible. Your dreams are possible, but we have to take those small steps like every day. Every day I do at least one thing that brings me forward. It might not be huge. It might be a day that I need a little rest, but I will at least do like this one thing. You know what I mean? And just think, you do one thing every day for 30 days. That's 30 things that you just did that put you closer to your goal. Crazy. And it's small. Some of
Right?
them take 2 minutes. No big
Yeah.
deal. You did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's why I'm really leaning into the coaching now, because I want, like, I have certification in goal success and like things like that and therapeutic art, all these different things, and I want to take the pieces and I want people to see that like we can make a map and we can figure out your stepping stones. So this is what you want, and like here are the many micro steps we need to take, and like let's figure it out, because I want everyone to live their dreams
Right
and have a
on.
life that they love, right? And full of
Yeah.
joy, so that we can spread that joy and that
Mm-hmm.
positive vibration out into the world and make this world a fucking better place,
100%.
right?
Yeah. And I like knowing
So
how
lean in
miserable
though,
I
keep
was.
being you, because you're
Yeah.
magic. I love it.
You too. And like when I see people that are living their dreams and living their passions, I get so excited. My boss mentioned to me the other day that he used to do writing and he never can find time for it and he has a million ideas in his head. And I challenge him like, when you have a day off, why don't you just sit down for 30 minutes? You get 30 minutes of
Yeah.
your day off to do some writing, put it
Mhm.
down, look at it maybe a day later, edit it, and I'll
Yep.
go from
Mommy, when you're gonna be done?
there.
All right, Mama's
Right
gonna
now,
wrap
because I
up
gotta
right
go
now.
get my kid.
Yeah, I promised her ice cream.
She has
So
been
she's,
so well behaved.
I
Thank you,
know, she's
Lillian.
such a good girl. She knows, like, she's like, Mama's gonna do her video, because I have to record videos all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
she's kind of gotten the swing of it.
Oh,
I'm
that's
lucky. I'm
awesome.
so lucky. But
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you
this was
so,
so
so much
amazing
for
chatting with
having
you.
me. Same. We'll do it again for sure. It's super easy too.
Definitely. Anytime you want to talk about something, me and you, we can go on live any day.
Oh, love it, love it.
Love it. And I love you. Sending you so much love. Sending
Same. Sending
so
love
much
to
love
all
to
of you.
everybody that watches this or doesn't even watch it. I love you all anyway.
Take care of yourselves, please. You are
You
worth it.
too.
You're
Thank
so worth it.
you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Ben.